You're listening to the 23 Personnel Podcast, a Texas Tech athletics podcast where food and sports clash at the goal line. Here are your hosts, Spencer and Michael.
All right, what is everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the 23 Personnel Podcast. I am your host, Spencer, joined by Michael. What's up, man?
Spencer, I'll admit, I wanted that one. I wanted 4 bowl wins in a row. I wanted to see the 8th 9+ season or 9+ win season in my lifetime. I am in my 40s, as some of you know, and 9+ wins has only come around 7 times in that stretch. I really wanted this. It sucks, but Arkansas goes on to win 39-26. The score wasn't even that close, really.
I'm going to say, what the game felt much more at hand than that. You had a good second quarter, and that was about it.
That was about it. Yep.
Like there are all kinds of weird things that happened in this game that we could point to. Officiating was strange. Like a lot of borderline things that could have been or should have been called weren't. Like offensive line is a half full step off the line before the ball is snapped. Perfectly fine. Our receivers on his butt getting absolutely, taking a spear shot to the helmet. Absolutely fine. Got a receiver on the sideline, out of bounds, absolutely destroyed. It's fine. They have a returner come out of the end zone with the ball, then go back in. Somehow not a safety. Um, I don't know. Weird stuff like that. We have a returner that calls for a fair catch at the 10 and then lets it go over his head. I'm sure he got griped out on the sideline. Then he calls for a fair catch and then catches it on the 2. Gets replaced on the punt return team, but then comes back in on offense. So much this game makes no sense, Michael. And I just, you knew that this game was going to be strange because of everybody that was going to be out. You had no idea what was going to happen, what it was going to look like. Didn't know what the game call was going to be like with 2 interim, I guess you can call them, coordinators. As far as I'm concerned, they can both be packing their boxes on Monday. Why Juice Johnson had a job after the West Virginia game, no idea. But we went ahead and just let him call plays. I guess to be fair to IU, like it wasn't DeRuiter holding the defense back all year. I mean, it wasn't his fault. They were just trash defensive backs. Macho Stevenson got cooked on a 94-yard touchdown because the receiver moved his hands too fast.
Yeah, a slant. A 94-yard touchdown on a slant. That happens every day.
Defense at the beginning of the game was optional for Texas Tech. So, like I said, it's just ultimately exhibition game goes down as a loss, but means very little. The grand scheme wanted it. At least for me, Michael, I would like to see the policy of allowing players in the portal play in the bowl game be reevaluated. I don't know, like it's fair to question where a player's heart is at when they've committed to another team to then play meaningful snaps for you. And it's not like you needed depth there because you could have put anybody back there to return punts that wouldn't have done the asinine things that Jordan Brown did. You didn't need him to fill out a formation with wide receivers. You had Valson, you had other guys that could have and did play. I don't know.
I have 2 thoughts on that. One, I would care more if Tech lost by 2. That might sway my opinion a little bit more. But the other thought is, okay, we talked about this Monday when we recorded. McGuire's reasoning was these guys have been with the team, they've practiced, they've done everything we've asked them to do. If they want to play, even though they're in the portal, they can play. I still agree with that on principle.
I did,
except for if you have a player who's committed to another team, maybe you have to sit that one out. If there's graphics of you committed and going to another team that come out the day before the bowl game, maybe that's the price you pay for committing that early or making it that public. Maybe that's where the line is drawn. Sure, you can be in the portal, that's fine. But if you commit somewhere, okay, that's it. Enjoyed having you. Thanks for being a Red Raider. Best of luck in Nevada.
Yeah, when we recorded Monday, I was like, yeah, it's great. I think I agree. I agree with Coach McGuire here because they were part of the team. They helped the team get to this position. They should be allowed to play. And now I'm like, no, I'm against that now. Change my mind. That was, I mean, no, the game did not hinge on a single safety. Or the other punt return that you ended up scoring on that drive. You went 8 plays, 98 yards on that drive. That Brown let the ball bounce as he should have. I understand that. Or maybe he should have caught it at the 10 but didn't, and then it rolled behind him. Because what Andre Ware said on the next punt return, you which is what they say on all these punt return. Like the returner goes to the 10-yard line and no further back. The ball goes over your head, you just let it go. If they down at the 1, okay, well the punter made a great kick. Chop it up to him. But you don't retreat to catch that ball. I offensively, I mean, I think we can temper expectations for Will Hammond taking over for Baron Morton next season. He's talented, not ready, which is fine. It's fine. You don't need
It
him to
is.
be creating all that extra drama. You need bodies to run drills. You need him to be a healthy, viable backup option if and when he has to play next season. Not terrible, but wasn't his best game. 20 of 34, 280 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. Rushing game, I mean, you ran the ball 5.9 yards per carry, 217 total rushing yards on 37 attempts. Jacoby Williams and Dickey both had 15 carries apiece, and they combined for, what was that, 197 of the 217?
A really great 1-2 punch that I look forward to seeing more. I mean, I feel like towards the end of the year we saw Williams a lot more than we did Dickey, and get to. I don't think it was Williams' fault necessarily, but I think the third or fourth drive into the game they decided to just kind of give an entire drive to Dickey, and man, he muscled his way into a lot of stuff, and the announcers, whenever we could hear him between AM and FM frequencies, they did manage to mention the patience of these runners, and I think that speaks multitudes to what Taj Brooks brought to just the program. Period. The fact that these guys were able to be in a locker room with him and watch him prepare and watch him run the way he does. I mean, patience is his middle name basically. So I think we got to see some of that tonight from both of these running backs, and that was really, really encouraging and promising. And I remember specifically Williams, kind of in the backfield, had his hand on one of the linemen and was able to kind of make a read. And last second, I think he got 8 or 9 yards on the play. Took off to the right.
Yeah.
So there's highlights. I mean, I'm with you. There's highlights. Hammond had some good deep balls, specifically to Tharp that I can remember. Of course, that Douglas had an incredible interception saving catch.
Yeah.
That the announcer called 3 different plays consecutively. Interception. Oh, no, he didn't hang on. Oh, Douglas caught it. Boom, boom, boom. I can say that because I was wrong like 4 times tonight on trying to spout off bad defensive stats on Twitter, so it happens.
Life comes at you fast.
Mm-hmm.
Anish. Yeah, I'm looking forward. If those are your top 2 running backs, I mean, I would love to see how Quentin Joyner plays a role and all that. Not that I think like he just has to come in and be the number 1 guy and just replace somebody. Douglas had an up and down game. Your leading receiver, 5 catches, 115 yards, but on 11 targets. So he dropped more than he caught. Long of 47, but no touchdowns. Aiken had 4 catches for 47 and a touchdown. Stiff arm to get around the defender there to score. I believe it was your last score. Williams added 36 receiving yards himself, so he had 100 and almost 160 total yards. Valson had 2 catches. Tharp had a catch for 44. Conyers had 1 catch. Jordan Brown had a catch. Dickey had 1. John Carlos Miller had 1, but for negative yardage.
Oh gosh, that was an awful play. That was, I think Mainville pointed this out on Twitter. just one of the most back-breaking back-to-back play sequences in a while was that pass behind the line of scrimmage to him, who just immediately got mauled, and then I think the next play was an interception that Hammond had to tackle, and
Mm.
luckily he did. I think all that was behind Hammond was green grass, so excellent job by him, not pulling a Mayfield and actually caring enough to bring down the defender to keep him from getting a pick six, but also just Hammond's physical ability. Now we may cringe a little bit more if he becomes QB1 and you get more worried about his health and everything, but dude was lead blocking, man. He was blocking downfield. He wasn't messing around. That's always fun to see. I always cringe when Morton does it. I didn't cringe tonight because I thought, oh man, he's young, he's healthy, good to go. But when you see Morton do it, you always kind of go, oh no, it's fine. You just stand back there. Let someone else run lead blocker for the option or whatever it was.
So, looking through the drive charts, Michael, because I want to talk about the start of the game. We talked about Texas Tech had a better second quarter than first. Defensively, you weren't. You went 9 plays defended and 3 touchdowns surrendered on was it 260 yards?
Yeah, it was. Well, I'm not sure if it was just those 3 drives, but it was 260 in the first quarter total.
Yeah, because
But yeah, it was because the second drive was
started in the second quarter. Yeah.
Yep, the fourth drive was the safety, so that went in the second quarter.
3 plays, 84 yards, a minute 29 time of possession. 3 plays, 75 yards, a minute 5. 3 plays, 96 yards, a minute 23. Arkansas's longest drive of the day, Michael, went 4 minutes and 4 seconds. 10 plays in 4 minutes. Their average time of possession was 2 minutes and 6 seconds. Texas Tech's longest drive, 4 minutes, 15 seconds. It's a drive that ended with an interception. Arkansas went 11 plays in a minute 58 at one point. Just whatever, want to point that out. Average time of possession for Texas Tech on the drive was 2:19. Yeah, so you start the game, touchdown, touchdown, touchdown. Then you got a safety that halted their momentum, got you back into you had kicked a field goal before that. Safety gets you to 5. You take over on the kick. 5 plays, 69 yards for a touchdown, which is the Jacoby Williams long run. To get you, was it 21-12 at that point? Then your next drive, turnover on downs. Luckily, or whatever, your defense responded. You forced a 3 and out, 3 plays, 9 yards. You responded with that, with your 8 play, 98 yard touchdown. And then Arkansas went field goal, touchdown, punt, field goal, end of game. Whereas you went touchdown, punt, interception, safety, punt, interception, touchdown.
Yikes. I would like to point out a little bit how much I underestimated Talon Green, or how much Texas Tech made him look like a world beater tonight. I'm not really sure. So
any quarterback that can move his feet looks like that against Texas Tech. But yeah, I mean, he looked great.
it wasn't just that. He had 341 yards passing on 11 completions.
31 yards per completion.
31 yards. Yes. 3 first downs every time someone in a red jersey caught a pass. Incredible. His rating was 220. And then on the ground, like you were mentioning, 15 attempts, 81 yards. He had a 27 yarder. He had a touchdown. Averaged 5.4 yards per carry. He averaged about what Taj Brooks does.
Yeah. I mean, you look at their running back. He was like, oh man, he went for 10 yards per carry. Well, in his 80 yards, he had a 70 yarder. So he went
Yeah, that'll pad him a
seven
little bit.
7 for 11 plus a 70 yarder.
Yes.
You can't take that from him. Like he obviously did that, but and the other running back, 20 carries, 50 yards, 2.5 yards. Like you weren't terrible defending the run outside of your quarterback always breaks your back and one long running play. Pass defense was just atrocious. Just no way around that.
Yeah.
They ran 66 total plays. Arkansas did 8.5 yards per play, 31 yards per completion, 4.8 yards per rush. They were 4 or 5 in the red zone. You actually outpossessed them. Time of possession 30-22 to 29-38. Congrats. They had 559 total yards. Anyways, I just wasn't sure what you're going to get. That's not what I was expecting at all. But didn't know what was. I guess anything's possible, right? I am interested to see what the new coordinators do with the staff. I know that they were kind of told like this period was for them to evaluate players, to evaluate staff, and kind of let everything work itself out and get ready for spring ball. But man, you hate to end the season that way, because the two touchdown loss feels much bigger than the scoreboard, the final score says, right? Like we talked about that.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Yeah, because
I think it was
Arkansas
the
had the ball the last 3 minutes.
yeah, and that touchdown you scored was your only second half points. I think you had like 3.5 minutes to go.
Yep.
That brought you from 39-19 to 39-26. Yeah, it's just a terrible start. The rest of the game wasn't that bad defensively. You gave up 18 points, quarters 2, 3, and 4, including a safety, which you kind of did to yourself. You just 21-3 at the end of the first quarter. You're like, man, defense decided not to play.
Right. That was one of those kind of didn't know what to expect. We've talked about that, and especially after that second that second 3-play touchdown drive by Arkansas, I thought, okay, this is what I should have expected. I don't know why I thought the defense would have improved or had at least stayed the same. I should have assumed it would have gotten worse, and it did. So that's on me. That's on me, guys. I should have expected that. As soon as I sat there, I was just kind of crossing my arms watching the game, like, oh, yep.
Didn't help. The last time we saw them, they did what they did to West Virginia. Had the West Virginia Oklahoma State games been flipped, I'm like, okay, like we should have had better expectations coming into this game. If our last game of the season was against Oklahoma State, and you put up, 42 points or whatever it was. That's all I got. Michael, you got anything else you want to talk about?
No, I don't. I was looking forward to this. It was very disappointing. I should have expected a little it to turn out a little bit more like it did. I thought the offense would be not prolific necessarily, but effective and able to put up some points. But that wasn't the case for a while. But anyway, yeah, just to go into halftime and the game was more than in reach. It was what was it? 24-19 at half. So you're down by one score and then just quit showing up the rest of the game, really. That that's what stung the most, I think, aside from, of course, the first quarter, just in general, all around. Uh, 1 for 10, 1 out of 10. I would rate this game. Do not recommend.
Will not rewatch this one.
Will not rewatch. Will not revisit. 8-5. Okay, fine. That's fine. I'm done with this game and this season. Wreck 'em. I'm glad Taj got to go to the Liberty Bowl and hang out with everybody one last time, and probably encourage the young guys and give them a lot of good practice and a lot of good tips. I'm genuinely happy about that. Did you have any thoughts on him not playing? I mean,
I'd never expected him
we've
to
both
play.
heard it, me neither. I mean, we both heard that he wouldn't, and so I think you and I are kind of aligned there that whatever he decides, I'm fine with. I actually probably would have, like when Morton goes off to block somebody, I probably would have cringed a little bit if Taj would have run out there. I'm like, oh,
What are we doing?
no, it's okay. You're fine. You've done enough. You've done enough. Just go be great in the draft and practice and hang out with the guys. You don't have to play, man. And you see a game like that, and you're like, well, I'm really glad he didn't play in this. It just seemed like it would have really been such a waste.
Yeah, and I'm not sure like if it really was him still trying to decide whether or not he wanted to play in this game, or if there's some kind of gamesmanship. Because like I don't know
think it's that.
what it gains you from having Arkansas think they'll face Taj Brooks and then not facing him. If anything, like they get a relief, like, oh, okay, good, we don't have to face him. If they were in fact thinking they were going to have to defend him, I mean, if like you would have had I think a much bigger advantage had he said he wasn't going to play and then he did end up playing, but even then maybe it would have been negligible. So I don't know if that would have been like either way. No, I didn't expect him to play. Not hearing until like an hour before kickoff that he wasn't playing, I thought was strange. But like, I never really expected him to suit up anyways. It was probably stranger that he was with the team practicing or at practice. Let me be clear. I think that's the verbiage we heard is he was at practice. No, I think it's absolutely fine for him to do that. I mean, I didn't love when bowl opt outs started happening, but like I understand it. I think it's been long enough, and we've kind of seen guys come through for Texas Tech that have opted out. Like, yeah, I'd rather them remain as healthy as they can be to do whatever, than to play in an exhibition game and potentially hurt themselves. You see what the value is of having, more healthy contributors in the NFL. Um, so
I had one other positive.
Mhm.
So defensive lineman, I think it was Hansen, who had that forced fumble as he was tackling the ball carrier. It was just a really great play. I just wanted to point that out. We'll end on a couple of high notes. Taj Brooks is awesome. Continue to be awesome. Go be great. And how about that forced fumble?
I'm. It was a good play. I'm
Does it make you feel any better?
not sharing your optimism on the defensive line play. When you are chasing the quarterback out of the pocket and you have him dead to rights and then you just fall on your face,
Yeah.
I got nothing for you. Or you just run right past him like, oh look, there you went that way and the quarterback was standing there. You just
Did you know he's 6'6"?
I'd heard that.
Did they mention that? Did they? Just
Several
wanted to make
times.
sure you. Okay. That's tall. That's tall, Spencer.
And I can't remember if it was on this game or a different one. But they kept saying he was football fast. Oh no, it was a Vanderbilt game. I was like, they're trying so hard not to say he's fast as he needs to be. Or he's Mahomes fast.
He's Mahomes fast.
So I think they were talking about Diego Pavia. But yeah, I was watching that game. I was cooking dinner. It was like 14-13. And I had my back to the TV doing things. I turned back around, it's 35-13. I was like,
yeah,
okay, Georgia Tech. And then it was like pouring rain. I was like, it really did start to pour for all the different ways you can imagine that. Yeah. Let's go basketball season, I guess. Kind of feel like we're setting ourselves up for some disappointment. The rankings being as high as they are, is like, or the advanced stuff and the teens, whatever. It's like, really?
I'm not setting myself up for disappointment. I'm setting myself up to be amazed.
Okay.
Because we have 0 quad 1 or 2 wins, and the only it's the same. It's the same thing I've been saying the whole time. The only teams that with the pulse we've played, we have struggled with or lost to.
Oh, we were without JT Toppin.
It's true. It's true. And without
He's-
Federico.
Federico.
Also. So, okay, I know that. I know those things. That said, I might be trying to go to the UCF game on Wednesday.
Wednesday? Is
No,
it the first or the
you're
31st?
right. No, it's Tuesday. For some reason, I keep thinking New Year's Eve is Wednesday. It's not. It's Tuesday.
Yeah, so we will be back Monday. One more Monday recording, and then likely resume Tuesday night recordings and streams on the 6th, 7th.
Yeah, I think it's the 7th.
Whatever. It's so far away from now.
Next year.
Next year sometime. We'll get there.
It's down the road.
We'll have baseball all the way into June.
He's calling his shot over here.
We'll see. Get everybody's favorite segments back going yard in Little League. I have 2 boys in Little League this year. So I'm sure everybody's looking forward to that. I'm not coaching. I'm not on the board. I'm not doing anything. I've said this before. I'm just going to be a dad. But I'm literally going to just be a dad. I probably told the story how we went to elections for the board, but I was out for my middle son's birthday. I said, I want to be this position. I can help you do all these things. And then the president came back and was like, oh, well, somebody else was elected to that position, and I want you to be something completely different. And we're going to hold all of our meetings on Sunday night, even though you said you couldn't be able to make it. Would you still want to do it? I was like, no, I'm out on all of those things. I'm just going to be a dad. I'm not going to coach. I'm not going to pick one son's team over the other to try to coach.
We have this recorded. So
Several times now.
I can play this for your wife if you ever get roped into something. I'll remember.
Can't, won't.
Thought you said you weren't gonna. Oh yeah, he did. He did say that.
Put me on record again. Friday, December 27th at 10:30 p.m. Central Time. Will not coach. Will not be on the board. Will not volunteer. Will just be a parent. And I'm also going to try not to scream at kids from the stands. That's also a stupid thing to do.
I only scream.
Not like scream. Scream is awfully harsh. I haven't yelled at kids since I was a coach.
Well, you have to.
Even then, like I said something, I was like, "That was stupid. I shouldn't have said that." I was. I'm just gonna. I'll leave that out there.
My rule as a dad on the sidelines, unless it's my kid, it's positive things only that I yell to where people can hear. And even if it's my kid, it's not like, "What are you doing? Get your head in the game." It's not that. It's just, "Hey, be ready. Ball's coming." Stuff like that. Just actual.
Did you see the
quit looking at me? Look at the ball.
Don't look at me when I yell at you.
Yeah. But everyone else is like, "Great kick, great block. Oh, what a drive. Good pass." It's just all positive.
Speaking of helpful things coaches yell at you, did you see that Arkansas coach screaming at Green after the safety?
No, why was he screaming at him?
You could clearly read his lips. He said 3 times, like screaming at him, like in his ear hole. You're better than that. You're better than that. You're better than that. I was like, great coaching points there, sir. I'm sure he's learning from this experience and growing.
He went back and he jotted that in his journal when he sat
I'm
back
better
down.
than that.
Better than that. I'll remember that next time. Like, this is after he scored. They had 3 consecutive. Anyway.
This was in the fourth quarter. Yeah, this was safety in the fourth quarter. You're
Oh,
better
that
than
one.
that.
Oh, okay.
No. Sorry.
No, I was like, no, the tech safety was early.
Yes. Sorry. I had that flipped. Anyways, that'll do it for us in the 23 Personnel Podcast. I don't know. I just want to end it back on the Texas Tech game. Texas Tech loses 39-26. Football season for 2024 is in the books. Second round of playoffs coming up Tuesday, Wednesday. We'll be back on Monday talking about UCF basketball and basketball season. But until then, guns up. For Michael, I'm Spencer. We'll catch you next time.
Thank you for listening to the 23 Personnel Podcast. Help us out by subscribing, rating the show, and leaving a review. Follow us on Twitter at 23 Personnel, Spencer at PuntSuck, and Michael at Michael_LBK. Be sure to catch the next episode. And until then, guns up and let the tortillas fly.
All